are the things you wish you knew 11 years ago, before you co-founded Booker, which became one of the largest B2B software as a service businesses, and then moved on, as we just saw with Mindbody. What were the three main things you wanted to know then?
One of the things that I joke with some of my early Booker associates that are still at Mindbody about is, when we were starting Booker, it was really hard to get investors excited about spa or salon software. I mean, it was kind of like a side business. People looked at, well, how big is the industry? It's not very sexy. It's not very exciting. And now there's hundreds of millions of dollars of funding going into this industry for spas and salons and for fitness. And so what we had to do was tell a bigger story. We had to say, well, this is really about service-based businesses, anybody that's selling their time and has other resources that are required. Maybe it's a room, maybe it's tools or equipment, maybe it's staff. That we have this multivariate scheduling engine that we can apply to plumbers. We could apply it to golf. We can apply it to pet services. And that was kind of the big picture that we had to paint for people to believe that there was an opportunity to build a company worth, over $100 million. And so what happened in doing that was that, rather than being 100% focused on one industry or, very tightly coupled industries, we diversified the bets and the investments that we made. And looking back now, I wish that we had just kind of stuck to our knitting, only focused within, one particular area. Because even within, let's take spas as an example, you have a local day spa, you have franchisees and franchisors that look very different. You have corporate owned, you have hospitality, you have retreat spas. So when you think about all of those, just that one vertical itself and solving the needs for all of those different businesses is challenging enough. And then if you go layer in, salons, and you layer in fitness, like, it just keeps expanding. And so I think the second, part of that is really being focused on who your core users are and defining that market and really nailing that market before you start moving out. And, as we got more mature, and again, this is now, pretty well, very well ingrained in Mindbody, but also in most software companies, is really thinking about kind of like user personas. So who are the personas of the people that are running on your software, and where are you going to focus your development? Like we have, one persona, which is somebody that is just a hobbyist, and this is a lifestyle business for them. We've got somebody that wants to be the best and open, 15 locations. The needs of how you support those, both through software and through your customer experience team, are vastly different. And so really understanding where are you, putting your investments, and what are the bets that you're going to make this year, and that may change next year, but really having a good thesis about how you're developing out. And then the other one that I think a gentleman from Bain who led our Series B in I think it was in 2015. And as we were developing out our business, he really pushed me on the underlying metrics of really becoming and knowing how to run a SaaS business. And, we all talk about revenue growth, and we talk about P&L and your EBITDA. But in a SaaS business, there are a lot of other, what I would call, kind of sub metrics. And back in 2010, 11, 12, 13, in the early days of Booker, nobody talked about it. Now you can go Google it and you'll get 50 articles about it. And it's kind of like, of course, this is what the metrics are. But back then, nobody talked about those metrics. And so it was really good to, learn that. And now, frankly, working with Vista, who is our private equity owner, they're masters at metrics and really understanding what are the areas that drive certain business outcomes, and how can we think about running a more efficient business? How do we think about capital allocation, return on investment, and so forth. And so that's been another thing that, literally every day and every year, I learn more and more about different metrics and how they push and pull on one another. And I think that that's really critical especially for a software business. But even as you get into running a physical location, spas, salons, or fitness businesses, for those owners and operators to really understand their metrics as well, because a lot of times people go into these businesses because they have a passion about it. They used to, cut hair someplace, or they were an instructor someplace, and now they decided they want to open their own business, and they've never run a business before. So, either working with a consultant or with a franchisor or somebody that can help you from day one, set up your dashboard, set up your P&L, understanding, the difference between true, revenue and your cash coming into the business. Like those are, very basic, but hyper important things for business owners to understand.
Thank you for highlighting the fact that people have a trade, they have a passion, they're very good at it, but having a trade, having skills, having expertise in running a business and a successful business takes other skills. And I remember in a recent interview that you gave, you spoke about Vista, the company that has acquired something near to 400 businesses, now 60 in their portfolio. And now they helped you really craft a value creation plan, because even you as a successful CEO, with all the different steps that you've had, the different roles that you've had, you are still discovering how to streamline, how to structure your company and help serve your B2B clients and B2C clients.
Yeah. This has been a great partner. We took the company private in early 2019, and their methodology is really focused on how can they apply the best practices that they've learned across these hundreds of very specific enterprise SaaS technology companies, and apply that to a value creation plan that helps the business achieve higher growth, become more efficient, become more profitable. And it's everything from back office functions and consolidating systems. As you can imagine, Mindbody had a lot of different systems because of acquisitions that we've done over time. And so over the last 2 years, we implemented an entirely new back office ERP system. And so that it makes it easier for us to have visibility across the entire business. As we acquire other companies, getting them on that platform will be easier because it has the right type of foundation. So that's one example. Another example would be our go-to-market functions and how we think about our integrated campaign planning and where we're targeting and the verticals we're going after, or our roadmap planning process and how we think about building ROI calculators for new developments. If we're going to go spend $1 million on a development, what do we expect to get out of that? And then you might horse trade something because maybe the market is just really early, and so you'll decide to do that development in a year, and you'll go after development this year that is easier to get into market and generate revenues from. So they've been a fantastic partner, walking us through these different lenses on best practices throughout literally every department across the business.